some brother. We're hearing this double here for a second. Let me correct this.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm hearing it now. I got to correct this.
Okay.
Give me a second. I mean, we don't have to hear it double because you are powerful on your own. Okay, I think I have it here. Hold on.
Okay. It's hot out there, huh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It is hot. But it's a different kind of heat out here in Africa. But it is hot. Trust and believe. Don't believe anything else. It is hot.
I saw a video from Africa the other day, man. It looked like they was on fire. I was like, wow, I think it was Nigeria.
Yeah. But you know, you have different parts like South Africa that will get cool and you have to wear jackets and stuff, and higher up, Northern Africa, even Northern Ghana is not as cold, not as hot as us right here. Okay. You know, the higher up you go, it's almost like the United States. You go to Florida, it's one thing, Texas, then you go to Chicago, New York.
Right.
It's cold, you know, but right here where I am is 0 latitude, 0 longitude. I'm on the equator as we speak.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Ghana is that place.
Yeah, it is. But it's a very healthy thing because you sweat out toxins. Some people don't like it. They come from the States and it's a shock depending on when you come.
Yeah.
You have you have the rainy season and the dry season. That's the only difference.
Right.
Temperature will remain the same. Up in the mountains, it's a little cooler. You go down in the city, you go down in the crowd where they've chopped down so many trees and that heat hits.
Wow.
You can't even sleep at night. Because when I had the apartment down in Ayarafa, that's like a little more up. It's still a crowd, but it's a little more up at nighttime sometime. Because we didn't have
you used to do the Anthill Chronicles and stuff?
Yeah, that was right.
I remember that.
Yeah. Well, that was by the first apartment. It was like right up the block. We had a second apartment, which was still close by to there. But instead of walking all the way where the anthill was, I would go on the rooftop of the apartment we had when I did the rooftop perspective.
Right, rooftop. Yeah. Okay. I remember those days.
I just go up there and just start talking. And people love to see, like in the background, they love stuff. I would even go down to Adenta by this overpass, sometimes at night, and pitch the tripod and turn it where you can see the cars going by. They like that. You know, instead of me being up against the wall.
With the lady that was following you, you were saying, is this a demon or is it?
Oh, you remember that one?
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell that one real quick, but we're gonna get into the show. Okay. But for some reason, and there are certain people who, in life, they latch on to you, like, but they're bothered, but they see something in you, and they latch on to you. Yeah, and I'm walking in the crowd like anybody else. She was already babbling because when I came into the mall, she was already
wow.
And when I was on my way out, the crowd was around me. I looked her way, she looked my way, and she locked eyes with me. And then she just followed me. And I was heading over to get on about it. And now I wasn't running from her. I had other things to do. But I had to whip the camera out and talk about that. And I just turned it around. And she kept going on and on and on.
Right.
And when I finally got out of there,
definitely something was going on.
Followed me for about a mile.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you know, those mental health spirits, they do get attached to people like us.
Yes.
And I see them all the time. It's like you can almost predict when you're going to interact with one of them, because it's something about our spirit that agitates them. Or either they want to be attached to us, almost like a healing type of situation.
Yes. Brother, let me just say one thing. Out of nowhere, the rain came flushing down. What I'm going to do, I have to go upstairs to the top floor and close a few windows up there so it doesn't come in sideways. So I'm going to come right back. And if for some reason the power goes out, I'm going to reconnect through the phone, but you'll still be on. I just want to say that really quick. Right?
Okay.
But
if you want to put your banner up there.
It was supposed to rain bad earlier, and now boom, here it is.
Wow.
So let me run upstairs. I'm gonna put you on a solo layout, and I'll be back
Okay.
in 3.5 minutes.
You want to put your banner up, or well, how?
Oh yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Okay.
Sure. All right, let me oh yeah. If they haven't seen it, I know they'll like it.
Oh yeah,
but I'll be right back, brother.
Okay, brother.
Right
and
back.
Greetings to the family out there. Great banner here. Great subject today. You know, the more we think things can't get any worse, they seem to continue to get worse and worse. Certainly, one of the reasons why, well, I'll just let you guys know my thought process going into this is one of the things you see is as a result of being led by people that have no balance, no vision, are narcissistic in their way of carrying themselves, where everyone has to submit themselves to you or to this philosophy. We're going to deep dive today and see why we have the type of issues that we have. And a lot of it is created by those that are in power that dictate the flow of energy globally. And certainly here in America, we can see the real consequences of not having wise leadership. And this particular concept, it goes way back in antiquity. But I chose to use the yin and yang concept or terminology simply because we're more familiar with this. So basically, you know, the banner speaks for itself. We know we live in a chaotic situation. Again, a lot of it is created because of a lack of vision and knowledge, and basically a lack of overall wisdom that it takes when you're talking about a society and civilization progressing. One of the points I want to make before we actually get into, while Lance is waiting for Lance to come back before we get into the visuals, that white male dominance is a deliberate battle against natural order. And that the concept of yin and yang, or yang, will explain why. Rejection of spiritual natural laws and principles, men and women must rule side by side. And that means that we know that this yin and yang energy is interconnected. And again, we'll see this today as we go through this. But when you have one that's more dominant than the other, then it causes like a schism, where if you think about it this way, if the Earth rotated just a half of a centimeter away from its axis, if it wasn't perfectly set by the Creator, life as we know it today could not exist on the planet. So when you think of it that way, you look at the fact that it's not so much which one is dominant, it's the ability to balance them, because they're both interconnected. But the ability to manage and balance these energies to maximize the outcome. As I was saying earlier, real leaders are visionaries, and visions flow through electro, or the masculine energy, and magnetic, or the feminine energy. So you can think of it this way. You could have a live wire that's so hot, the juice is jumping off of the wire. But you will not be able to charge that battery if you don't have a ground wire. Okay. And one without the other is ineffective. I don't care how powerful your energy is. If it's not balanced, then it's going to cause like an imbalance, not just in your life, but in the lives of all those that you come in contact with. So we also have to look at what we will place value on in the present and the future. What is the vision for humanity? Because you see, we don't have to give over the planet to people who don't live by divine laws. We don't have to do that. We choose to do that. And certainly the decisions that have been made based on people still dealing with the fact that they can't come to grips with who we are, it's costing them very dearly. In fact, it's going to collapse this country. I'll give you an example. There was a leaked tape conversation between two people that are in our government, in Congress. And of course, long story short, they were discussing things that just, it makes no sense, because if the best vision to make human beings slaves again, if that's your best vision for the future, then the planet is in serious trouble. So if indoctrinating children to be crop producers for profit instead of training them to be farmers, we are returning to a stone age. And the system of economic exploitation must be eliminated. In fact, the inequitable distribution of resources will collapse America's growth and development. And finally, it'll collapse the whole society. And we are seeing that here in America. We're seeing the results of this inability or lack of understanding and comprehension from our leaders, okay, to actually look at these natural laws, comprehend them, and then put them into motion. So, brother, if you want to discuss something about your banner before I go into the visuals, you can, or I can go right into the visuals.
Okay, I'll do a 90-second little something here, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, you know, the polarity wars.
Yes.
We know we have good people in our communities, no matter how bad people may deem it. There are always good people, even in, I don't want to call it a hood, because you have white hoods, you have Latino hoods, you have hoods, but some people expect the worst out of those areas of the city. Some have done it to themselves, and some are victims by what they earned. They can't move out to another place that's a little better. You know, there's a lot of, everybody has a story. You have the mental illness, you have the emotional pain and hurt, things that poverty bring. That's not by chance. So I'm not just saying this is us, because this is crime all over, decadence all over, drug use all over, young children who don't want to see this stuff, and you know, they're growing, and you have the skulls in the back, the police there. I just wanted to paint a picture of the highest point of the war that is against us. It's just as much as you can say bad things about our community, especially in America, the others use the best of us and our energy, and they mine our talents like you mine for gold or coal or any other resource. And they leave the rest behind and don't care. So I'm showing this on this level because I wanted people to see the flip side of things. That, you know, it may not be too pretty, and what a lot of us are feeling that drive us to do the things that we do in a reactionary way. And if you see in the comments that's on the screen, you see a woman down in the lower right-hand corner. She has something rubbing across her face. That's supposed to be bleaching cream, or the bar that lights you up. Yeah. You see the
Wow.
guy who's a rapper to the left of the kid. You have the other guy with the headphones on, but there's drugs next to him, below some pills and stuff. You have the young lady who pretty much is a stripper or a woman who is selling her body for money. And there's a big bottle of liquor in front of her. A lot of the things here are not good. It's not that the people are not good, but the situation. And then you look at the guy there with the gun pointing it at the other brothers. So there's a lot of tension, and this is part of the war on purpose to drive us out of our mind, to make us do bad things so we end up locked up, or to just discourage us and make us feel as though things are hopeless. But the yin and yang of everything is that there is another side, because we are the original, we're the most talented, but we have to use our talents more so now to survive the spiritual gifts and everything else. So there's a lot going on. And I just want to see anybody out there that's discouraged or feeling down about their life, about things, trust me, there's another side if you just hold on and keep your mind right. And don't let your immediate circumstances discourage you from knowing that behind the clouds, there's a sun that's shining bright with rays just for you. Wow.
I think it's time to pass the plate around. That was better than any Sunday sermon. I tell you, you know, the saying that a picture is worth 1,000 words is so true.
Yes.
And that concept and what you were saying is that, how is it that all of the negative forces and tension is projected in our communities, but yet we never see anything positive coming out, like all the things we create, like you were saying? Someone purposely continues to keep that side present in your conscious, in your subconscious, and then it manifests into a reality that we live every day. And we're gonna deep dive into this today, because it's very important for us to recognize that we do have power. It's just, again, our mindset that separates us from being able to walk in the right way that we need to walk in order to overcome these issues, because we're so inundated with this one side. And the people that indoctrinate us, they don't have the natural connection that you have to this energy and power. And we say that all the time. So in the first visual, Lance, where I have the different characteristics of yin and yang, we're gonna go into this now. A lot of it's the one, it's got writing on it where it shows the two different characteristics of yin and yang. I'm sure you'll get to it. But yes, that's it. Perfect. Thank you. So as you guys can see, and it's funny, you'll see after we go into this that yang is a problem. If you want to think about it in terms of a personality, okay, it can be a problem, and we're going to see, but yin can be a problem as well. But the biggest take that we get from this is that when they are in harmony, then it neutralizes things to a point where you can accomplish things without being overwhelmed by one side or the other. So the way that this concept is broken down, yin is thought of or considered the feminine energy. Yang is thought of as the masculine energy. And I also want to add that the mother womb principle and magnetism, along with the Mayan laws, are extremely, extremely important in terms of the balance. And this is why I said in the beginning that the white male dominance or misogynistic spirit that has taken over America and other parts of the world is in direct conflict, okay, with natural principles. And this is why we see all of this chaotic situations that are arriving now. Yang, the masculine energy, can be thought of as aggression, okay, or action, whereas yin, which has the features and characteristics of receiving, can be thought of as cooperation or cooperating with someone or something in order to achieve things. So when you have an imbalance in either one of these areas, we're going to see how this affects the way things are manifested. But just take a couple of words here from Yang, which is the aggressive aspect of this concept. You can see that the characteristics are in sharp contrast to the principle of yin, where you have broad shoulders, square, muscular, sharpness, prominent, powerful, tall, bold, angular. Okay. In stark contrast, you have yin, which is described in terms of physicality, sexy, curvy, petite, fullness, voluptuous, soft, roundness, delicate. So you immediately see this physical and psychological contrast that explains these two concepts. And as we go deeper into this, we'll see how this is manifested and what we can do, more importantly, to strike harmonious balance in our lives. Okay, brother, the picture with the globe, one part of it is nature and one is on fire. It looks like it's, yes, that's it, perfect. Now, this is a perfect example of the nature of this concept. And it shows that nature is always chaotic, even down to the quantum level. Okay, so why is there only a focus on the moon instead of the sun, or studying the sun at least? You have to ask yourself, why is there so much interest in the moon as opposed to the sun? That's something to think about. But you have to focus on the sun, okay? And the reason you have to focus on the sun is because the sun is at the center of our universe and our world. But also from this, we see that opportunities are born in chaos, okay? And we know that chaos or sun power can be turbulent. For example, fire keeps us warm, but it also has a destructive element where it can burn down everything. This is something we see when Black folks go out, you know, and there's some type of injustice that have been done to us in the past. When we go out, you see this fire come out, and that's a whole part. Now, fire is thought of as yang, okay, the dominant, or not the dominant, I'm sorry, the aggressive aspect of this yang yin concept. Okay, brother, that the next visual is the sun and the moon, and we'll talk about why this is so important, not just in the universe, but also in our lives. So the sun and the moon, I'm sure you'll get to it. Yep, that's it. Perfect. Now, you again, when you put all of the emphasis on the moon instead of balancing it with the sun, and we can break this down further in terms of how you see this war on melanin is a huge mistake that those that miscalculated this power have made. Okay, because when there's an imbalance with the way that melanated people are treated, but yet there's all of the emphasis on the moon aspect or the yin aspect, then the society is going to be out of balance. Okay, not just from a universal perspective, or I should say, not just from a celestial and terrestrial perspective, but also within our own relationships in terms of how we relate to each other as human beings. So when you deny sun energy, or when you deny Black people their rightful place on the globe, and you fight against this, then now you have created a third dynamic that has put the entire civilization at risk, as we can see now. Okay. Also, the other thing is the sun is the greatest representation of life on the planet. Okay, and the universe is at the center of our universe. But the moon also, with the magnetic energy, also controls like our water. It has the spirit of fertility, or the energy of fertility. It has the creatrix spirit, that without this energy, and this is why I say that men and women, particularly melanated or Black men and women, have to learn how to cooperate. We must learn that we cannot move forward if we don't. This is why they fight so hard to keep us divided. Okay, now we've reached a point, okay, where you have to begin to rise, and the only way you're going to rise is to understand and comprehend these laws and principles that we must look at. I looked at the 10 Commandments this weekend. I hadn't seen this in a couple of decades. And it's fascinating how, I mean, it was a well put together movie, but it's fascinating how when people write narratives, they cut you out. They cut your sun energy completely out. So this is a deliberate act by those who consult with these spiritual people to consistently fight against this power that they know that we have. But finally, when you look at this particular visual, we look at the fact that the sun, that this concept of the sun and the moon, or the electromagnetic energy, electro being masculine, magnetic being feminine, we see this principle: the father, mother, the king, the queen, the god, the goddess, the man, the woman, the boy and the girl, and the positive and negative connection, where I use the example of a battery not being able to be charged if you just have, and nature is our greatest teacher. So if you just have a hot wire positive and you don't have that negative ground, then you're not going to charge anything. But this is the most powerful principle that we have to now begin to incorporate in our lives again, because if we allow this to be torn down, and certainly it has been, okay, but it can be reinstated. It's just a matter of where we put our energy. Okay, brother, let's do the visual where we have nature and technology. Yes, thank you. Now, I had to really meditate on this because, again, and you know, these are just my interpretations. I'm sure Lance, the family, and other people that see this will see other things into it as well. Okay, but when you look at nature and technology, you look at the fact that nature controls the weather, but technology tracks it. Also, nature creates events on the planet, which are recorded in the Akashic records, okay? And technology or AI reads it or interprets it. Now, if either one of these did not work that's why you can't put too much emphasis on one side like they're doing now with AI and technology and just totally disregard nature. That is the biggest mistake that we can make. And when you listen to the people that were at the foundation of a lot of these AI technologies, or I shouldn't say foundation, the ones that took it and then, you know, came up with a lot of different ways to use it, because it's always been there in the electromagnetic spectrum. Because they did not have the wisdom that it takes in order to produce this balance, then you see the dominant or the yang energy dominating this harmonious situation. Because if you could find the right and proper balance, this can work out okay. But again, like we talked about the alpha schools the last time around, where you're going to have the yang energy that's going to be taught to a specific group of people who are then going to control the natural flow of how we live our lives. Also, this creates a third entity, okay, or the expression of events as a result of this combination. So we also know that we're looking at a situation where you have the inorganic and the organic dynamic here. Okay, because we know in nature we're carbonated beings, or 666. Okay, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, and 6 protons. And when you get to a certain level of this, then you see that nature intertwines with this technology. Okay. Okay, brother, let's go to technology and humans. Yeah, thank you. So again, we see this dynamic of GMOs, or inorganic versus organic. One thing that we know that technology is diametrically opposed in the sense that it doesn't have any human emotion. Okay, and you can think of, so when people talk about them being aware, they're only talking about their ability to interpret things. Okay, whereas humans, we experience it from a natural, or what we were showing earlier in the other visual. This is something that happens to us naturally, our emotions, our thoughts, the things that we think about, why we think about them. And so you see this intersection with technology in humans that has caused a major shift, particularly when you look at geopolitical conflicts, or the purpose or the agenda, okay, of those that are in power, okay, as opposed to yin or yang, or both working together. So again, if you can fuse this technology with the human, and this is one of the reasons why they are trying to do this with the Neuralink hookup, and also using organic material and things like televisions now. Okay, all of this is because they're recognizing that there's only so far that we can go with this technology before it actually, I don't want to use the word destroy, but it actually cuts out most of the human element that is necessary for our survival on this planet. The last visual, Lance, is the heart and the brain. And yeah, now this one also is very, very important because, again, when you're dealing with this concept of yin and yang, you have to comprehend that they both, that's why within the white parallel, and the black parallel has the white dot, and the white parallel has the black dot, signifying that they both have something inside of the other one that's necessary for them to stay connected. With the brain and the heart, we look at yin as the heart, okay, because just like technology and humanity, you have this same dynamic, okay, where our heart basically encompasses all of our human emotions along with the mind, okay, the conscious and the subconscious mind. All of this is within the human heart. And this is something we have no control over, okay? But when you look at yang, the brain, all right, you're looking at the fact that it interprets what comes into your heart and your mind, and it manifests it, and it helps make it real to you. Whereas the heart carries the emotional mind, the hopes and desires of humanity. So we're going to go into this a little more. All right, thank you, brother. To explain the situation that we see on the planet today, in terms of polarity wars, peace versus war, and the yin and yang principle. Here we have the two opposing forces, conflict and harmony, where you have polarity and two opposite extremes of a spectrum or energy poles that define and influence each other. And that's very, very important, because you can't define one without the other. Example, when we look at war, Okay. And war is the yang principle. It's organized conflict, violence, and struggle between groups, nations, and ideologies. Now, that's very important to keep in mind.
Sounds like life in America.
Like in America, exactly. Oh, man, it's gotten really bad here. And I don't see, until we actually get some people who can actually put forth human principles, we're in bad shape. But when you look at the yin principle, a state of stability, cooperation, and absence of conflict. When we look at the philosophical, psychological, and societal explanations, number one, the constant push and pull between destructive and human tendencies, the yang, and the idea that societies and individuals are always balancing between aggression and cooperation, and a belief that conflict or war can sometimes drive change, while yin or peace allows growth and stability. So when we look at human nature, we look at the aggression versus empathy. Okay, and you can look at this and clearly see this in our political atmosphere today, where in politics you have competition versus cooperation. In our personal lives, we have internal conflict versus inner peace. And polarity wars are not just about armies, okay, but how opposing forces shape our reality. Okay, and again, we can see, you can use America as a prime example of these two opposing forces. Now, let's look at the fact that these opposing forces are interconnected. Again, we look at the characteristics of yin. It's thought of as calm, as dark, as passive, as inward, as feminine energy. When you look at yang, you look at active, bright, aggressive, outward, masculine energy. And we see this connection in the electromagnetic spectrum. So we know that both of these energies exist. It's just how we use them. For example, instead of fighting each other, they depend on each other. They transform each other, and also they stay in balance. For example, night being yin and day being yang, or rest being yin and activity being yang, peace being yin and war or conflict being yang. And they both are part of a cycle and balance, like yin and yang. So in terms of the symbol, as I was saying, the reason why we know they both influence each other is because a black side, or yin with a white dot, shows that they both are incorporated, and vice versa, meaning each side contains a little of the other, and nothing is purely one thing. Yin and yang teaches that life isn't about eliminating opposites like war or conflict, but about managing balances between them. And we're going to see why that's so critical when we go into this aspect right here. Now, the current global conflicts and tensions, and we can clearly see this through the yang and yin principle. The yang side, we see tech companies, we see military buildup, we see global influence, and on the yin side, we see trade, interdependence, and climate cooperation. Also, on the yang side, we see cycles of violence, retaliation, security struggles. And then on the yin side, we see ceasefire, talks, and humanitarian efforts. This is what happens when cycles of yang or conflicts or war continue to reinforce themselves over time. So we see the global alliances shift. So when you have a situation like you have now where yang is dominant, where everything is military aggression, everything is violence, everything is retaliation, and then you don't see any of the yin principles where you have humanitarian efforts, people sitting down at the table, where there's maturity and wisdom. And I remember an old song, Lance, I'm sure you remember it. It says, there will never be any peace until God is seated at the conference table. So when you don't have this principle of yin seated at the conference table, you're going to have an overwhelming, aggressive type of energy where you have this misogynistic, dominant white male nationalism that is destroying the harmonious natural principles that we are supposed to live by every day. Also, one of the things that you see when the yang principle is dominant, you see power blocks, you see expansion and growth of groups such as NATO, BRICS, strategic competition, as opposed to the yin principle, where you see economic cooperation within blocks, you see multipolar balance, as opposed to dominant power or bullying other countries and people and disrespect. Okay. Now let's go into the psychological mindsets surrounding the yang and yin principle. We look at fear. Okay. Fear is yin turning into yang. Okay. So fear of losing power or aggression, causes aggression. And then you have security dilemmas. You have arms buildup. You have pride, identity. And all of this is part of the yang energy. You have nationalism. You have historical grievances. But when you incorporate the yin principle, like true leaders supposed to do, then there is a desire for stability, for trade with other countries, for diplomacy, for global institutions like the United Nations. Okay, so this is why we see this chaotic situation in our world today, because again, we have this overwhelming yang dominant principle, and we may start having to use that name yang to refer to some kind of person, because yang, that energy is completely dominating our society today. And this is why we have so many external and internal conflicts that can't be resolved. The results of this is too much yang, force and dominance, causes war and instability. However, too much yin or passivity or compromise causes a loss of influence, okay, or security risk. Even on an individual basis, you can't just have people walking over you, okay? Right. So you have to have a harmonious balance between the two. Also, you have countries constantly trying to show strength, which is yang, and avoid escalation, which is yin. And the goal is global balancing. Okay, that's extremely important. And finally, as we go into the final phase of this, we're going to look at the geopolitics that exists today between countries and dominance and power. Okay, in global affairs, nations constantly move between yin, corporation, and yang, conflict and assertion. And we see that all the time. Well, we got a ceasefire. Okay, but then somebody is bombing somebody the same day that you say you have a ceasefire. And then you have somebody tweeting out or sending out their image as Jesus, when we know that your energy and your manifestation is yang, where the Christ concept incorporates yin and yang. Okay. Yin in geopolitics is the peaceful side, where you have diplomacy, you have treaties, you have alliances, and you have economic cooperation or trade and globalization, and institutions working together for the progress and good of society and civilization as a whole. We also see yang in geopolitics. We see conflict constantly. Military power, competition, wars, again, nationalism, dominance, expansion, strategic rivalry, and in conclusion, too much yang causes destruction and instability, and too much yin produces weakness or vulnerability. So again, we can see that you have to, even when you look at your own personal life, you have to have a balance between the two, because unfortunately, in the world we live in, if you show too much yin, you're going to get stepped on. Okay, that's just a fact. However, if you show too much yang, then you're going to attract forces to you that necessarily you didn't intend to.
Right.
Okay. So again, you have to have that balance. But stable systems need both. Okay. So and we look at the law of correspondence for that. Okay. And also the psychological implications of this yin-yang principle, or inside or within individuals, it's the same balance, where the yang traits, the outer drive, the ambition, the action, the assertiveness, the competition, the achievement, the anger or intensity when unbalanced. So you see all of these things manifesting at a higher density when things are unbalanced or yang is present. However, from a psychological perspective, there is imbalance. So again, too much yang, aggression, causes burnout, impulsiveness. That's why you see a lot of people crashing out, because we have this psychotic, narcissistic type of yang personality or energy that's dominant, that's created by people that don't comprehend and understand the electromagnetic principle that exists in the universe, or the sun and moon principle, or the brain heart principle. So because they are disconnected, that's why there is so much emphasis on technology, because that allows them to also use the yang principle in order to put forth an evil agenda. Too much yin, however, or passivity, causes avoidance, or you may not want to deal with something, or a lack of direction. And finally, healthy people can switch between the two. You're calm when you need it, and action when needed. That reminds me a lot of you, Lance. That you know, healthy people are able to do that. And again, it's very, very important to look at it in terms of and through the eyes and lens of what we're experiencing today, because again, our people, they are destroyed for lack of vision and a lack of knowledge. And vision and knowledge produces wisdom. Okay, you can't have one without the other.
Right.
So when you have people that are leading these nations who don't have any connection with these divine principles, and you're following these people, then automatically you're out of sync with the natural progression of life. And that's why there's so, like your banner, that's why we have so much chaos in our community, because Black people are the direct manifestation of this energy that we're discussing. But then when you have too much yang that is present in our community, mainly as a reaction to what's coming at us, then it produces this. Okay. So finally, when yang dominates too long, the system becomes unstable and costly for everyone. And I think I'll end the show there, brother.
Brilliant. You always leave us wanting for more.
Yeah, this is a principle that we need to gravitate towards more, because one of the things that this nationalism and this misogynistic energy that's produced by white males have done is it's taken us from our natural connection to the creative spirit. And when you look back into antiquity, you never had a god without a goddess. Okay, when you look at our societies, you never had a king without a queen. Okay, and when you saw them, they were sitting side by side. One wasn't more. In fact, the yang principle could not survive without the yin principle.
Right.
It cannot.
It cannot to this day.
To this day, it cannot.
It'll always be imbalanced. It's
Always.
like trying to drive with tires on a car that hasn't been rotated, and they're bald and they're wobbly, and you're trying to act like everything is all right.
Right.
And then remember, the yin and the yang is being disrupted by the agendas of these people who are not human,
Yes.
who want to sprinkle a little bit of rainbow sprinkles of yin in our community as men to keep us from yanking out a little more. But we're allowed to yang out on each other with the guns and the crime and the drugs.
Yang out. That's
we
a
can't,
new, that's a
right.
new
We gotta
word,
yang out.
Yang out.
But righteously. Right? We gotta be like that dude, that assassin, a righteous assassin on top of the building, watching the mark right there, getting rid of anything that's not conducive to our growth, our knowledge and wisdom balance, as you said.
Yeah,
but
and make no mistake about it.
And reject this yin for the males, which, like you said, with the whole diagram, the white side, the black side, but we have a little bit of it in each other. So when you have a man who has the yin in his life, he doesn't have to yang out until he chooses to righteously.
That's a new, we're gonna go with that yang out.
Yeah. But don't yang out on each other and destroy your community. Yang out on the enemy and have some yin, you can cool out. Have your goddess next to you, so you can relax.
Yeah,
right?
and this is why when you look at our society, this is why when you cut out the yin principle, you're cutting out half of our strength. and so you look at, that's why nature's our greatest teacher. There could be no electric without magnetism. You cannot have one without the other.
Right.
So everything in nature is structured that way in every species.
Yes.
Okay, you see that principle. And so when we allow, or we yang out, as you say, and we don't sit back.
I don't know where that came from. It's just.
That's a good one, brother. I must have to steal that one. But you know, whenever we refer to yang, we know what we're talking about. These people who are dominated by the yang principle have corrupted the natural principles that exist in nature. All right, my brother. Well, hold on to the belts, and yeah, you and the family,
yang out, man.
Stay up. Yeah, you know, you and the family stay up, man, and I look forward to getting together with you guys again next week.
Yes, the king of Mondays. And whatever day you come on, you're the king of that day. Divine mission, righteous and yang. That's right.
All right, don't yang out.
I'm gonna yang out one more time tonight. We're gonna record something good.
I believe it.
Yes, we
are. All right, brother. Peace and love.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right.
Yes, everyone. I'm gonna do a little something right here. Soon we get a bite to eat. The rain stopped. It's a quick storm that came over, and I'm a little fatigued. Yes, I am. I did a lot of other stuff earlier, but I have it in me. There's something I want to say that I connected, and it's not going to be long, but I saw something, and if I don't say it, I'm not going to forget, but it'll be buried between the other things that I see, a point that I want to bring up. And in a discussion, some brilliant points were brought up, and I want to share them, you know, and it stimulated me to go a little deeper. So I might sound crazy to some people who don't know me, but I'm not just going to half behind and do it. If you can't understand, then call me crazy. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm going to sign out of here. I'm going to get something to eat. We have something coming on real short, 10 p.m. my time, 6 p.m. Eastern time, just a short 10-minute point that I wanted to make. And I want to do something again tonight on the recording tip. So it'll be up a little later because I have to take time to edit everything out. But I want to press forward, keep pressing forward. I feel real good. Like I said, I'm a little fatigued, but I like to be a little fatigued to let me know that, hey, let me get a little yin energy so I can not yang out all the way. But I want to finish off and have a good sleep, wake up and come back with it again tomorrow. So anyway, much love to you all. And I will see you later on. All right. Peace.
this matter, actually today I got to meet my friend Lance. Yes, I got to meet my friend Lance. This is my first time meeting him in person, and he's a very kind man, seriously. I do talk with him on phone, on WhatsApp, but I've never got to meet him. But today, he's just extraordinary. He's very, anything you want to know about life, anything you want to know about just human, anything you want to know about life, please. YouTube, Telegram, Instagram, Twitter, all the social media channels, you got to find him there. He's very inspiring. He's very positive. If you want anything positive about life, please subscribe to LanceScurv. And then every day you got to see different videos, different talks, different topics about life. See you.